Should you house hack or should you wholesale? ¿Por qué no los dos? Two of the most popular real estate investment strategies for beginners are house hacking and wholesaling. Today, we're going to talk about the differences between the two, as well as some of the details you might want to know to help you decide which one to pursue. But as I said at the start of the video, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both? These are popular strategies for a reason. They are both great, especially for beginners. And maybe it's not a question of which one should I do, but which one should I do first? Before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Lili, and this channel is where I've been documenting both my house hacking and my wholesaling journey and bringing you guys along with me. It's an experience that I'm really happy to be able to share with you guys. And if you feel the same way, please change the color of the like button so that the YouTube algorithm will share this video with more people and we'll have more people in this financial freedom community. So thank you for hitting that thumbs up button, and let's get into defining what these strategies even are. House hacking is when you buy a property for yourself to live in and then you rent out the extra space. This could be a single family home where you live in one bedroom and rent out the others, or this could be a multifamily like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex where you live in one unit and rent out the other units. Wholesaling, on the other hand, is where you find a distressed property that's usually not in great livable condition. You get it under contract and you sell it to an investor who's then going to fix up the property and, sell it or rent it out themselves. With this strategy, you never actually own the property, and instead you just sell your contract to an investor and you make a one-time lump sum payment that could actually be some pretty nice cash. I even had someone who found me through this YouTube channel and took my 5-day beginners bootcamp. He made a $70,000 wholesale fee. If you want to learn more about that program, you can check out the link in the description. So those are our basic definitions. And I also have these two videos, one on house hacking, one on wholesaling, that go completely in depth on exactly how they work. I'll link those in the description below. But for now, let's talk about some of the details you might need to know to decide which one works for you. If you are interested in house hacking, this is not a no money needed strategy. Whenever you're trying to buy a house and you want to go to the bank to get a loan, they're going to look at your income, your credit, your job history, the amount of debt you have, how much money you have in savings. So if you feel like you're in a pretty reasonable position with those things, house hacking could be a really good idea, because when you're buying a house for the first time, you can use something called an FHA loan, which would let you put down 3.5% rather than a conventional loan, which requires you to put down 20%. So if you want to buy your first property for just 3.5%, house hacking is a really good way to go, but you've got to get an understanding of if your financial situation qualifies you for it. So I recommend you call up a local bank, not a big national bank, but a local bank, and get a pre-approval letter. They'll look at all of those financial qualifications like your income and credit, and they'll tell you exactly how much money they'd be willing to loan you to buy a house. Maybe it's 100K, maybe it's 200K, maybe it's more. Maybe if you pay off this credit card or pay down that loan, then they'll lend you even more. But once you have that information, the next thing you need to ask is, based on what the bank is willing to lend me, can I afford a house in this area for that amount? Housing prices are definitely on the rise right now. So if you live in the center of Los Angeles or Austin, Texas, it's possible that the home prices might be out of your reach. So you need to consider, am I willing to live a little bit further outside of the city, or am I willing to live in a completely different city or state that's more affordable? Either way, if it works out that you can't afford a house in the place that you want to live, house hacking might be a really good option. Like I said, when you're buying a house for yourself to live in, you could put that low down payment down, versus buying an investment property needs 20, maybe even 25% down. Plus, when you own the house that you live in, you don't have to worry about your landlord, telling you that you can't get a pet or raising your rent on you. And it's really nice to be in charge. But being in charge means that anything that goes wrong is your responsibility. So if you're interested in house hacking, you have to understand that you're taking on all the responsibility of upkeep for this, house that cost you probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have to make sure that your tenants pay rent. And if you want to see a video about how I screen my tenants, check out this video right here, which was all the lessons I learned in my first year of house hacking. Anything that breaks, your tenants are calling you. So you either have to fix it yourself or call up the professional or handyman who can fix it, and then you've got to pay them. You got to manage lawn care. You've got to make sure that just everything, anything and everything involving the property is your responsibility. So having extra money, extra savings set aside is going to be crucial. Both when you first buy the house, you want to make sure you have savings set aside, but also when you're getting rent from your tenants, you're going to want to set some of that aside, because maybe they'll move out and you'll be vacant for a certain amount of time. You'll still need to pay your bills. So having that money set aside when something breaks or when you have a vacancy, really important. And the final thing to consider is that house hacking means you're going to live relatively close to your tenants. So if you really value your personal space, or maybe you have a family, you have kids, maybe you don't want to rent out all of the extra bedrooms in your house. If that's the case, you might want to go for one of those multifamily properties like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, maybe even a house with a garage apartment, because then you're going to have a little bit more privacy and separation from the people you live with. But on the other hand, if you really don't care and you just want to maximize the amount of money you can make, then living in one room and renting out the rest of the rooms is probably a pretty good deal. I've even heard of people who have house hacked while they were still in college, buy up just a single family house with as many bedrooms as they could afford, rent out the extra ones to their buddies and their roommates. So if you're thinking about house hacking, all of those thoughts should be swirling around in your head. But on the other hand, if you want to wholesale, the main reason people get into wholesaling is it requires a lot less money than almost any other strategy. Unlike house hacking, you're not actually buying the property. So to get started, you don't need a bunch of cash, and things like your income, credit score, amount of debt, none of that matters. There are some costs involved, but you can check out this video right here and I'll share how you can get as close to $0 when you're starting wholesaling as possible. But even though it doesn't take a lot of money, it does take a lot of time and hustle and knowledge. You don't just start a wholesaling business over the weekend and it just runs itself on autopilot. Unlike rental income, which is pretty passive, wholesaling is absolutely active income. You have to learn about the different areas of real estate. You've got to learn how appraisals work, how real estate agents work, how to estimate the value of a property, how to estimate a rehab. You've got to learn your market inside and out and build relationships with all of the key players in your area. It can be very rewarding though. I've seen wholesalers make anywhere from $5,000 a deal to over $50,000 or even over $100,000 per deal. So it just depends if you're willing to put in the time necessary to make those relationships, learn the things that you need to learn, and then put in the work to consistently find good deals. Prices are just skyrocketing right now, which means investors are willing to pay more and more to get a good deal, so your wholesale fees could be going higher and higher. But on the other hand, some people say that a skyrocketing market means that the crash is coming, and you might be going against the old buy low, sell high adage. So it could be a risky time to buy a property, but anyone who has invested for any amount of time will tell you it is so hard to time the market. So it actually could be a really good time to buy a property and things will just continue to go up. Either way, wholesaling is definitely a low risk strategy because you're not actually buying the property, right? You get paid at the time that the deal closes. And so if you sell a property today, you get $10,000 today. It doesn't matter if the investor goes on to lose $100,000 or make $100,000. You're not involved. If they lose $100,000, you'll feel good about the $10,000 you make. But if they make $100,000, are you going to wish that you had purchased that property yourself? This is why a lot of people use wholesaling as a way to get enough money to start eventually taking the place of those investors, keeping the property for themselves, buying it, rehabbing it, flipping it, or keeping it as a rental. This is exactly what I'm doing with my first BRRRR deal. So I saved up a bunch of money from house hacking and mostly from wholesaling, and now I'm going to be applying the BRRRR strategy to fix up a property, rent it out, refinance, and get my cash back. It's a little bit more of an advanced strategy from house hacking or wholesaling, but I'm excited to document the journey with you guys, share how it goes. If you want to see the breakdown of that first property that I'm going to BRRRR, you can check out this video right here. But definitely let me know in the comments if you're rocking with wholesaling or house hacking. Don't forget to change the color of the like button before you go. Until next time, thanks for watching.